Hi, welcome back to Aetheral Space 16.4 to Convene Part 2. Part the 2.
Can you believe it? Arc 16 feels weird. We're like in worm territory now in terms of length.
Yeah.
It's a lot of chapters. Have you counted how many chapters there are total?
I think I would die if I did that.
I think it's like 400-ish, probably more.
Probably.
So many. You know what? There's actually a way to do this. Hold on. Let me go to... This is important to me for some reason. So, Royal Road, there are 20 chapters per thing. So 20 times 23 is 460. And then 461, 462, 463, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10... There are 473 chapters of Aetheral Space. 475 if we count the last one and this one. That's insane. Are you going to do anything special for the 500 chapter anniversary?
Probably not. I try to make every chapter special.
Yeah?
That's
Special.
in there.
Very nice. Alright.
I'll do a sponsor the sweepstakes to have I'll hire someone to dress as Dragon and sell some stuff.
That would be terrifying. Could you imagine if Dragon tried to sell you things? What would Dragon even sell? I can't, like a lemonade stand?
His lemonade stand online, live streaming lemonade.
This is my fund for the supremacy military. Don't laugh.
This is the you get a text this is the Supreme. I need your credit card to help me make more military. Only one who decides is me.
So, said Jamie Pirot, war. There was no shortage of lounges in the Seat of Man. There was one for each member state of the Central Governing Council, so that they could convene with their entourages for discussion after they had convened with the rest of the council for discussion. The one belonging to the lesser chain particularly was quite pleasant. The furniture was of classical chain design, all noble and resplendent, with red curtains drifting over the grand window that looked out into the city. Right now, the two of them stood, Jamie Pirot and Albert Reyes, looking out over the world their decisions were shaping. "Where's this new nebula of yours?" Pirot asked with mild curiosity, taking a sip of his coffee. "Sir Ethel Faust, right?" Reyes glanced sideways at him. "I left him elsewhere. I felt it best he didn't attend a meeting like this, didn't hear what we had to say." "You don't trust him?" "It's not that he's not trustworthy," Albert muttered uncomfortably. "It's just that he's not trustworthy. Do you understand my meaning?" Pirot nodded. I see. A pity. I'm told he's quite capable. He'd have made a fine piece on the board." Albert Reyes hadn't always been the Prime Minister of the Lesser Chain. For a long time he'd been part of Unite Fleet, and during those years he had acted as Pirot's superior. They'd known each other since before Pirot received the prince, and it would be no exaggeration to say that Pirot considered him a mentor. The other members of their secret little circle, Girong, Agnes, they knew that Pirot had his plans, but not where those plans came from. Albert Reyes alone knew everything. He was the only one that Pirot had confided in about the prince that lived inside his head. "This action plan that Girong has sent around," Albert mumbled. "You've given him it?" Pirot nodded. "An immediate response, a proportionate response, a show of force and fury." Albert took a deep breath. "It'll mean war, you know, for certain." "It's a war the prince wants," Pirot said grimly, downing the rest of his coffee. "It's a war the prince needs. I don't know why exactly, but the time has come." Albert raised an eyebrow. "Peace and joy for all mankind?" he asked. "Peace and joy for all mankind," Pirot echoed, "once all is said and done." "We missed you at the meeting, Schlorp," said Pollyanna thoughtfully, beaming up at her target of conversation. Zephyr Pandershi glared back down at her. She'd managed to corner him in one of the corridors leading back toward the council chamber, and, judging by the sour expression on his face, he definitely wasn't happy about it. Not that he could do anything. He was alone right now, whereas Pollyanna had Nebula 3 behind her. Someone of her stature learned early on to make themselves safe from the kicks of others. "I'm sure you did," Pandershi replied icily as she blocked his path. "I wouldn't fret, though. The transcription program I devised has already sent me a copy of the minutes, complete with any facial expressions and non-verbal cues of note. No decisions have been made as of yet. For all intents and purposes, I might as well have been there. Pollyanna let the self-satisfied yapping wash over her and just cocked her head. "Did you have somewhere better to be, Blip?" she asked. "We saw that your new nebula was guarding your ship, Bimlo. Is it really safe to wander around without an escort, Bluey?" Pandershi's eye twitched in annoyance at each occurrence of the verbal tick. "You know," he said, "there are procedures that could probably fix that little defect of yours. People in the Superbian Church, no doubt. Hell, I might even be willing to do it as a matter of charity, if you ask nicely." Tomfoolery stepped out of Pollyanna's shadow just a tad. "Watch yourself, boy," he said mildly. Boy. That in itself was a little absurd, Pollyanna reflected. Her godfather and the director of the Pandershi Foundation were actually very close to being the same age, in their late 60s. Appearances could be deceiving. Pandershi was a pioneer in the realm of anti-aging surgery, like he was in so many damned others, and so he'd managed to restore his appearance to that of a young man in his 20s. Apart from the hands, though. His hands were still the wrinkled talons they'd always... Pollyanna hesitated. She just glanced at the hands of Zephyr Pandershi, and they were completely smooth, unmarred by wrinkle or scar. Above her, Pandershi smirked. "Is there a problem, First Citizen?" he asked, a giggle barely stuffed down his throat. The hands were confirmation, then. It wasn't that Pollyanna had disbelieved the information she'd received from Ansem, but to think, "Let me tell you something," Pandershi said quietly, squatting down to speak to Pollyanna face to face. Tom twitched, ready to move, but Pollyanna raised a hand to stop him. Slowly, she nodded. "The reason I didn't attend your little meeting," Pandershi whispered, almost gently, "is because it's meaningless to me whether we go to war or not. My territory is absolute. Even should the fires of war consume the galaxy, not a lick of it will come near my possessions, my planet, my people. They'll go untouched." "You sound awfully confident in that, QWERTY," Pollyanna whispered back. "Yes, I can guarantee that to you right now, without any doubt at all in my mind." "Why?" She leaned in closer. "Will your friends at Darkstar help you out?" Pandershi's smile dropped, and his eyes widened. For the first time in a long time, words failed to come to his mouth. That lovely face turned a lovely shade of pale. And doors opened all across the hallway. Armed soldiers of Paradoxia, scurrants of every shape and size, all of them with their weapons trained on Pandershi. The ambush had been successful. His arrogance had served as a second pair of eyelids. They got him. "Mr. Pandershi," Tom said, clenching his fists, "if you'll come with us..."
Ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him. Hang on. "War," the Landgrave of Braden intoned. "So the time has come." The president of the Miraze state scoffed as he gulped down a beer. "Remains to be seen, buddy." The Oba of Ingansi frowned as the bottle was slammed back down onto the table, a spiderweb of cracks spreading up throughout it from the force. "Should you be drinking right now, friend?" he asked, "given the day?" "Invisible Scarrant," Gainhill waved a hand. "I can handle my liquor better than most fellas. It'll be out of my system in a couple of minutes." The leaders of the UAP's biggest military powers had gathered in the Oba's quarters to discuss the coming vote. A recess had been declared for the gathering, giving the members a chance to decide how they would vote, and giving Zephyr goddamn Pandershi a chance to actually show up. In Gansi, Braynon, and Miraze, they had taken the opportunity to meet in private and reach a consensus before the council reconvened. Who's Carl again?
He's the Landgrave.
"If it comes to war," Carl looked to Gainhill as well, "how fast can Unite Fleet mobilize?" Unite Fleet originated from the Miraze state, and they still controlled the majority of their shipping yards and training facilities. Gainhill considered the question as he gulped at another beer. "Standard procedure for a new Supreme," he finally said, wiping the foam from his lips. We're prepared for something like this, where the new fella wants to rattle sabers, I mean. We've got ships buzzing around the border already. Not the real far places like that Utra, but we can be where we need to be in good time." "A preemptive strike is possible, then," Carl mused. "Possible," Econ the Oba cut in. and unwise. Carl narrowed his eyes. I would have never thought the warriors of Ignacy to be cowards. I thought it was Ingancy. Is it Ignacy?
You spotted it.
There you go.
You got one of the Dragon coins.
And should you say a thing like, what can I redeem them for?
When you reach the next shop. The next checkpoint in the arc.
I didn't know reading Aetheral Space was a roguelike. And should you say a thing like that to one, you would quickly find yourself cut down. Econ barked back seriously, before relaxing, his features softening. But it's as Mr. Gainhill said during the meeting. I feel we are being tempted to dance to Zhurong's tune. I dislike the feeling. You think he has ill intentions? Carl raised a grey eyebrow. I do not know, and this is another feeling I dislike. I can see how this war would benefit us. War is the industry of warriors, after all. But I cannot see how it would benefit Zhurong. The man who should push against this is leading the charge in its favor. I fear he is voicing the desires of another. Who? Gainhill asked. Econ scratched at his beard. I do not know. But until we do, I feel we should tread carefully. The Landgrave had his own visits to make. After he was done with his fellow warriors, the grim-faced man marched through the web of the Seat of Man, a perpetual scowl tugging down at his features. It was not strange for him to be grim. Today was a grim day. Any who met such events with a smile was nothing but a fool. He marched through the door waiting for him, past the masked knight who had made no move to impede, and stepped into the lounge. His bastard waited outside with his fellow Nebula, as was his station. That, at least, the boy understood. But no matter. Carl had greater concerns right now than his walking impropriety. Albert Reyes, he called out as he saw the back of the head he had been looking for. I have business with you. The Prime Minister of the Lesser Chain turned to look at him, his face pale. The face of a politician caught in politics. Carl disliked it. His eyes slid over to the Prime Minister's companion, another older gentleman, bald and bearded. His face seemed somewhat familiar. Hadn't he been part of Unite Fleet once upon a time? Landgrave, Reyes said respectfully, turning fully around from the window. What is it? What can I do for you, old chap? It's idiotic that you even ask, Carl replied. We need to discuss the coming vote. The military is ready to dispatch. Are the coffers of the Lesser Chain ready to support them? The military is ready to dispatch, Carl repeated. Are the coffers of the Lesser Chain ready to support them? The Prime Minister will have to consult with the Cabinet, Reyes' the Prime Minister will have to consult with the Cabinet, Reyes' companion answered for him. It's not a simple matter. And you are? Jamie Pirot, the man nodded curtly. Formerly with Unite Fleet, currently in the Department of Efficiencies. The Landgrave sniffed. He remembered now. Jamie Pirot, the captain who'd been disgraced and expelled from Unite Fleet for losing his ship and his crew. So he'd ended up as another pencil pusher. How sad. I've worked with the Prime Minister a great deal in the past, Pirot explained, back in our Unite Fleet days. Carl grunted. At any rate, if you'd like to field any questions, Pirot said, I'm sure I could. And then it arrived. The building trembled, the floor shook, the windows rattled. Pirot moved first. His face had turned as pale as the Prime Minister's as he ran to the windows, planting his hands against the glass and staring up at the sky. His voice came out halting, almost broken. Oh. Carl stepped up to join him, and just the same the words trickled through his lips on their own. They beat us to it. A star cast a shadow over the earth, in low orbit hanging over the city, appearing in an instant, the very center of the universe. The Anantashisha had come. A moment of frozen terror. The cafe had been quiet until just a few moments ago. Now, like all of the rest of the city that could see their new visitor, it was filled with the noise of panic and fear. A familiar cadence for those who had lived long enough, but still, it never really stopped being annoying. She stood up. She looked up. She frowned. The Anantashisha hung in the sky above the city, looming over the world and casting a shadow of night. For the moment, the flagship of the Supremacy was content just to wait there, immobile. But for how long? Security craft were already buzzing around it like flies. At any rate, things had begun. It was time for her to move. She walked away from the table, snatching the crook of the shepherdess up as she went. Uh-oh. Stinky. This is not going to go well.
I think they will come to a peaceful agreement.
You do?
I do. I think they're all reasonable people.
The shepherdess is like, I'm so sorry for my past sins. I've turned
not
over
her.
a new leaf.
She'll get hit by a car.
Oh, that's nice. Rurum asks, are there any former Nebula in good standing still kicking around? Like ones who stepped down or otherwise got replaced amicably?
Yeah, usually... Well, it's a job, basically. Like, it's not like... Like I said in the previous episode, the Moray State, a lot of the mercenaries on contract, so when their contract comes to an end and they don't renew it, they just sort of like, thanks for the money.
Do we have the potential for someone to approach and be like, we need to bring you out of retirement for one last job?
Absolutely, that could definitely happen.
Former Nebula 1.
Don't call me that. After my failure, I'm a Nebula 0.
My name, Samael Ambrosio Zakos Sr.
It's like, the approach like a kind of like, why are you calling yourself Samael now? we know who you are.
Wiser asks, don't think this has been asked before. Who in the body hired North to make sure the instructor's mission failed back in Arc 4?
It was the Three Wise Men. So they arranged for North and Wuming to go out and make sure that that didn't set off into a premature war.
Fuck. And then finally, last question. Rurum asks, where in the UAP is Piro from?
Lesser Chain. No, actually, the Moray State.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Should I have given him an American accent this whole time?
He does have an American accent.
No, he talks like this.
This
is like James Jonah Jameson. Is it though?
Jameson is from America.
Oh yeah, I guess so, huh?
Are you okay?
Well, I guess when I said American accent, I was thinking like cowboy southerner because that's what I did for the rest of them.
It's okay.
I guess he's from New York and Maraza.
Yeah.
All right. I think that's everything for now. Any closing statements?
I have so much love inside me.
Whoa.
More than most.
TMI?
More than most people.
That's great, buddy.
If you had a meter, it would explode, and shards of glass would like stab into your various parts.
Ran through Honey?
What?
You said you have so much love inside you, and I called you Ran through Honey.
Still call me that.
Everyone's had a piece of that pie.
Excuse me?
You said it, not me. There's so much
No,
love
I did
inside
not
you
say
about
that.
to explode.
I said I meant it in like a metaphysical sense. Like I have the potential for so much affection.
Of course. All right. Well, thank you all for watching.
No love inside me. Thanks for listening.
Okay. So what is the truth and what is the lie?
I'm Schrodinger.
I'm gonna make a new game and I'm gonna call it The Lies of T. All right. On that note, thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.